We would like to thank our sponsors, Getaway Today. Use Getaway Today for all of your vacation planning needs. You'll get exclusive perks, great discounts, and the best customer service. Most importantly, their services are always free and easy, from experienced and passionate agents who love to make your vacation dreams come true. Head on over to getawaytoday.com from the link in our show notes to see their exclusive deals, and you can call 855-GET-AWAY and let them know Walt's Apartment sent you to start planning your next vacation today.
There was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Tribe. We're a group of excited and passionate individuals who have come together to share our love of all things Marvel. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and at DisInsider.com. I'm so honored to be joined by this group of amazing Marvel nerds. From the big screen to the small print, feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're alive. One team, one love. It's the Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe.
Oh, yeah.
Here it is. I wasn't sure I actually hit record, but that's good that I did. So, okay.
Oh, we're going. We're golden.
We're golden. So how's everyone doing? David, we'll start with you, my friend.
Dude,
how was your week?
Dude, it was great. Came back, just got back from our trip to Disneyland. They opened up the park to outsiders of California, so I had to take advantage of that and took the family down there. And I've never walked so much in my life. I realized I wasn't cut out for 5Ks. And just so you guys know, we did equivalent about 5 of the 5Ks in a 2.5 day span. And yeah, man, I can't wait for the people mover, the light rail, all that stuff to come back. So. Right.
Like Sam said before we came on, she said, you guys have never been to Epcot or Animal Kingdom, which is true. So I guess there's a lot more walking there. I'm used to the monorail and the tram and all that stuff, and that helps you move around. But yeah, I just got back from Disneyland about 4 hours ago. So, and it was amazing. Avengers Campus is amazing. Galaxy's Edge is mind-blowing. They're absolutely amazing. This isn't a Star Wars podcast, but damn, that place is cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. Breanna, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I did not just get back from Disney, so less good than you guys, but I still have a trip to look forward to.
That's right.
That's right. And aren't you going to the Halloween one too as well?
Yeah. If all of my plans work out for the rest of the year, I have 2, 3, 4 more Disney trips planned for the year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So.
Perfect. Sam, you didn't go to Disneyland, but you went to Tennessee. How was that?
I did. It was good. It was a good time with my family. But you guys are giving me Disney FOMO, so I'm looking at a trip before the end of the year too. So
perfect. Here or there?
Florida.
Florida.
Okay. All right. That's fair. But yeah. So everyone's kind of back in between vacations. Going to got some cool things to talk about tonight on the Marvel Tribe. We're going to talk about Black Widow. David and Breanna have seen Black Widow. So me and Sam decided it's okay if you guys talk about it a little bit. So Breanna, give us your thoughts on Black Widow. What'd you think?
I really liked it. I definitely understand that I was never going to get what I really wanted from a Black Widow movie that came out so late in the game. Like, you know that they know that she's dead at this point. Like, so that's what we got from this movie. We got more continuation of other characters, a good closing for her, and honestly, it was what I needed out of the movie that I was going to get. So I was happy with it.
So it's good. Does the story fit into what's going on? What was stuff right now or back then? I mean,
it's back though. It's in between Civil War and Infinity War. Wow, all the wars. Okay. And so yeah, and it fits in well there.
Yep. Okay. David, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, no, I agree with Breanna. It was a good closing ceremony for Black Widow. I liked it. The only thing I was disappointed in, and there's not too many things that Marvel can do to make me disappointed, but I was a little disappointed in Taskmaster. They changed Taskmaster a little bit and stuff, and I get what they're trying to do. For me, they just didn't really execute it all that well. I mean, and I see. So, bottom line is, Taskmaster is kind of a mutant. Has the ability to mimic. It's mimicking anything like at an instant. They can watch you and your movement and then instantly just mimic you. In this case, I can spoil stuff, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a computer based system in his dead daughter, and it's like, so that's what's doing the whole kind of mimicking thing and helping the person be this badass villain soldier. So I don't know. I didn't like that too much, but I loved. Oh my god! So first of all, love Red Guardian. I actually love him better than Captain America. He comes with the dad jokes, well timed, and they're cheesy, but he's on it, and I like him. He's awesome. That dysfunctional family dynamic was exactly what you would expect Natasha would have came from and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I love that the kid sister, was badass assassin. We're going to see more of her. So there is that. There is some pieces and stuff. We get a cameo. There's an end credit scene. We get a cameo from Valentina at Natasha's grave and stuff, and talking to her sister.
Oh wow. Okay.
So yeah, she built her team. She's built her team. So we'll see what that looks like. The sister's going to be a part of the next phase. So we're going to see more of her. But I liked it. It closed out pretty well. It did Natasha, I think, some really good justice and stuff for Black Widow. So,
I mean, let's be honest, because she really didn't get the best send off, I think, in Endgame.
No.
She died. Yeah, and everyone was like, "Yeah, she's dead." But when Tony died, and I read some stuff about this weekend. People were saying that made a big deal about Tony, but she was an original Avenger too. So I'm glad they did this movie. I'm looking for. I'll probably watch it. I'll probably watch it before we do our live on Wednesday. But I'm looking forward to watching it. Yeah, cool. Sam, you have any questions about it?
No, I'm just excited to see it. I'm gonna try and see it before Wednesday too.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys because I really want you guys to watch it. But I just did a lot of spoilers here. But
no, that's fine. I'll watch it no matter what.
Okay,
sure. So that's
gonna be completely honest, David. I blocked out everything you were saying for that reason.
Perfect.
Good.
I was like, let me just snack over here.
There you go.
So, and I won't talk about the Namor Easter egg that they the earthquake.
Oh, don't do that to me.
The earthquake that they noticed in the ocean. And so, I'm not going to talk about the
Namor is in this too.
I'm not going to.
Namor is everywhere, Shawn.
I guess so.
The Marvel gods want to appease me.
He's rumbling some earthquakes under the sea. So
let's get in. Any more anything on Black Widow?
It was good. I liked it.
Okay.
Without spoilers, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, next week we'll all try to commit to watching it, and then we can talk about some more before the finale of Loki, which I think we're going to dive into next week as well, which is going to be crazy. But let's get into this episode because I want to be honest with you guys before you guys give your things on. All right.
Okay.
And don't hate me for this. All right. I can't wait for this show to be over with because I don't understand it at all. I'm so damn confused. I watched it Wednesday. I was off for a little bit while I was packing, and I'm just like staring. I'm like, I don't understand. Why is there so many of these things? Where are they? I could vibe on Wanda and Falcon and Winter Soldier a lot better. This one, I cannot get my head wrapped in. I don't know if it's because I'm just crazy at work now and can't focus and watch as many times. I just can't.
So
it's a lot more comic book relevant. I feel.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so someone actually said this to somebody who was in the same way with you. And they used a really good scenario for it. So they were talking about how they used the river. They used the river scenario. Oh, yep, that's the wife there. The river scenario. So imagine like each universe. So the timeline is the river itself, right? That's the sacred timeline. But each fish is its own universe, right? So each fish has their own Loki, like they all have their own scales and stuff on them. So all those fish that are going down the sacred timeline and stuff has their own scale. And then if a fish produces an offspring and goes off, the TVA comes in, abolishes it because it's not part of it's a variant. It's not part of the sacred timeline. We only want the 10 or 20 or however many timelines in our sacred timeline. We don't want to sprout off new anything and stuff. We don't want chaos. Okay. So it's just the Loki. Every one of those Lokis is original to their timelines and stuff, including ours. Ours is original to ours. We just got a sneak peek of only our timeline. We've been watching our fish this whole time. The show Loki is showing us there's more. There's other fish. There's other there's other multiverses and stuff in this timeline. So.
Before we get into breaking the show down, how in the hell do we wrap it all back up and to make it back to just our Loki, or is that going to happen, or what's going to happen at the end of this?
Oh no, the jack is out of the box. The goal is to break open the multiverse, and I think
so. This could be its own freaking section of this could be. You could have your own section of just Lokis and continue like so many different stories just off this if you really wanted to. Correct?
Yeah, you could technically. Yeah. I mean. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, you could. Right now, they're all at this moment. They're all in the void at the end of time. So there is technically whatever these universes these Loki came from are non-existent, and so you can't really make a story of them just hanging out in the void, betraying each other. But
right.
Okay,
never know.
Fair.
But I mean, we do need to see a tear in the multiverse at some point.
We do, yes.
So we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. Right. I personally thought we were going to get it in WandaVision.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Same.
We did not. Mm-hmm. And then I said, okay, then we're going to see it in Doctor Strange. Yep. And now I'm like, do we see it in the last episode of Loki
or Spider-Man?
I'm going with we won't see it because I think it's such a huge event. It has to be done on the big screen. With these, I think these episodes are really just kind of. I mean, when Kevin Feige talked about what these shows are, like they're going to be tied to the main, they're going to be supplemental. They're not going to. You're not going to get something that where you go to the movie and said, "Well, you should have watched the Disney Plus series," because it's kind of an add-on. So they'll hint about the break of the multiverse or something like that. Maybe reveal the guy who's going to do it, like Kang the Conqueror or King Superior Loki or whatever. But I don't think they're going to actually do the deed in the Disney Plus show.
That makes a lot of sense. I think we have talked about that before. And really, if you think about Loki in that sense, Loki is basically explaining the multiverse to everybody then.
Yep.
So that when we do see it tear,
Professor Loki,
we know what it is.
Breanna, anything to add?
I don't think so. I think this helped me a little bit too, because when you talk about a sacred timeline, you think one timeline, and then they're going off and being like, oh, hey, look, there's tons of variants and tons of timelines, and they're like not questioning it at all and not really explaining it. And I was like, why are we doing this? And then I thought, like, when I originally saw the trailers and we saw that we were getting all these variants of Lokis, I was like, all right, well, we're breaking that sacred timeline somewhere early, and that's how we get them. And that's not what happened, because like, what was it, the third episode when Sylvie set off all those bombs? I was like, oh, there it is. But no, that all got fixed, and we still have all these variants of Lokis, and I'm just like, oh, okay, we need more rules or something. Like, I'm usually very good, because I love time travel movies, I love time travel shows, and I was like, I'm usually very good at just saying, I'll take the rules that they're giving me, and that's what I'm going with, face value. These are the rules in a time travel show, and it's everything is individual, because if you look too much into it, you question it. And I try not to do that, but this one was rough for me. I was like, there's not either not enough rules, not black and white enough for me. I don't know what's happening, but
no, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I made a misquote on my scenario with the the river thing, because and something that Breanna said that I was like, oh yeah, that it would have been better if I would have explained that. Besides, I mean, the fish is a different universe. Mm-hmm. The sacred timeline is the river, but to break off that chaos, you dig a trench. And you're creating you're breaking the sacred river and you're making it weaker and more chaotic by digging the trench and stuff and letting the water flow that way and stuff. So I think that's a much better scenario about how that timeline the sacred timeline works. They don't want anyone digging any trenches off. They want it to flow to its final destination. So the best, and the final destination for the sacred timeline is that the timekeepers are alive at the end. Because we know, and they don't really talk about it. They talk about it a little bit, but they die at the end of the timeline. So they're like, well, let's create the sacred timeline, and that's what we're thinking. But they're probably already dead. Something already happened that caused them to die, and so someone else has their own version of a sacred timeline that they're trying to protect something, and we should find out next, in the next episode. So,
okay. So you guys notice Chris is not with us this week. He is at Disneyland for like the month of July.
He's at Walt Disney World.
Yeah, the world.
Sorry, Disneyland. He's like there for like the whole month at Walt Disney World. Who has his notes? Someone has his notes?
We all do.
Yeah,
we've got them all.
Okay. All right. I was flying, I think, when you guys were getting all that stuff. So, okay. So let's get into the episode. Who wants to kind of start the breakdown of where we picked up here?
So we open up with there's this kind of weird opening where the camera working is doing all this things are upside down and topsy-turvy and stuff, and kind
looking at the golden elevators upside down.
Yeah. And we get to see, and it zooms in on the middle timekeeper, his robotic head and stuff, and then that's where it does. Is that where it? Then
we see
cut to Loki, or do we?
We have a conversation between Ravana and Sylvie, yes. And she says, "Tell me everything."
Mm-hmm. And this is Ravana. I go back and forth with her because I think she's a much bigger character than they're letting on. But
when I realized they were in the void, and it was Eliath.
Yes.
I was like, okay, this is going the Kang, Ravana the Terminatrix storyline, where Kang is basically not able, he's not well enough to take care of the timeline. So Ravana takes over. And the void all comes into place there with Eliath and all that. So I was like, that's where my brain's going. It's going to be Ravana.
See, what's tripping me up is WandaVision. It's the whole Mephisto thing for me. It's like, God, they show us so much stuff to point us in a direction, and then they pull the rug from under. And I feel, I want to say I feel they're doing that, but the Ravana, the Eliath reference, there is so much that's in the void of Easter eggs that is pointing to Kang the Conqueror, including the Tony Stark building that he sells to, is it Kang, which is owned by, the guy who ultimately is Kang the Conqueror. He's the president of this corporation that buys the Stark building, which his name's on it. I'm like, dude, that's Kang the Conqueror. So I think they're setting up a misdirect. I don't know. Mephisto got me confused.
That's why I'm sticking with Ravana. Because I thought we were going to get a Kang reveal, but I think we may just get a hint at Kang, and I think it's going to be Ravana the Terminatrix pulling the strings for her boo.
Yeah.
And her boo is Kang
the Conqueror. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
So then we go into she's trying to make a deal for her life and stuff, and they end up in the judge's chambers. Like she's this is the room, this is where you brought me,
you took my life from me.
Yeah, and then so it's fitting that I take yours here. And then she's like the whole Weasley, like, no, we can, I can help you. Maybe Loki isn't dead, and
just trust me.
Yeah, but you got to trust me and stuff. So we know Sylvie. She's a Loki. She doesn't trust anybody. That's just, it's a part of their DNA and stuff. So, but even though she shook her hand, because a handshake doesn't mean jack to Loki, For those who don't know about Loki's, you can shake hands and pinky swear and cross your heart.
And that comes into play at the end of this episode.
Yes, it does.
Oh, my heart.
So, okay. I know we're
jumping around all crazy,
romantic stuff, but I'm about to dash some of your guys' hearts and stuff here too. But so she's like, give me your tin pad, and we get another appearance by Miss Minutes here, who I don't get why people like her. People love Miss Minutes. Her Twitter followers are obsessed. She's evil. She is.
You think Miss Minutes is a bigger role in this than they're showing?
Yeah. Because the sneakiness that she's been doing and stuff with the role play she has back and forth with Ravonna and stuff on the side. Yeah, she has a bigger role.
It's so weird.
It is. So a robot wouldn't just pick up on the subtle, like, hey, we have a time void jet or something, spacecraft. It's like, yeah, it's beta phase. Well, let me look up the records here. Basically stalling for time. That's not something you interplay between a robot. There's something else that we're not seeing about Miss Minutes.
You think we find out?
Whoever was controlling the timekeepers was controlling Miss Minutes as well.
Yeah, I agree with Sam. Mm-hmm. I think the same people who were speaking in the voice of the timekeepers are the same people who are Miss Minutes. So,
wow.
So anyway, so they're going back and forth talking about like, how do I figure out who's the head of the TVA? I know you want, and we're thinking Ravonna's with her. It's like, I want to know who's behind this too, and everything. And then, so Miss Minutes is like help looking up some files, and then they mention the void spacecraft that can resist the temporal force and stuff, and Sylvie find out quickly that she's just stalling. So that's when she hightails it out, because here comes the foot soldiers, the Minutemen, and she hops over the judge's bench, and it's kind of a little hideout, or we call it a little shootout thing and stuff. And then we see Ravonna revert back to her horrible self and trying to, so come on now. I promise I'll put you in a time loop that would be okay.
Do you have any good memories?
Yeah.
Just one.
Right.
So we then see Sylvia, the clock is working and stuff, and she decided she turned on her, the pruning machine, the pruning stick. Pruning stick. And I thought she was about to do some battle, because for me in my head, I'm like, oh man, these guys are not going to take on Sylvie. Like she's you killed Loki, who's not her love, but you killed Loki as far as she's concerned. She's about to tear some butt. But no, she stands up and she prunes herself.
I did see that coming.
You did?
And I thought it was, yes. And I thought it was genius. Like I saw it coming. I was like,
that was a big risk.
She wants to, I knew she wanted, but she had been told earlier that when you get pruned, you end up in the void. Mm-hmm. And she knows she's a Loki. So she would go to wherever the other Lokis are in the void.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of them there.
Well, it's genius. Yeah, I agree. It's genius after effect, but I didn't know beforehand she was going to do that and where that was going to go.
Well, she kind of worked it out too, that she thought the timekeepers were there. So, and that is her goal. That is the only sight in her brain. Like, so it was.
When they ask what she's driven by is revenge.
Absolutely. So she prunes herself, and then we end up just another shot of what the void looks like with all these massive Easter eggs. Chris took some notes on some of the things that we see. We see the Stark, the Stark building. That's not Stark. It's the Kang building. We see a flying saucer that I don't have a reference for. I have been looking for it, but I couldn't. But there's other pieces that that we see. We
saw Loki or Thor's helicopter.
Thanos.
Yes.
Thanos. I mean, sorry, Thanos. Oh, I'm thinking of Thor because I'm thinking of Frog Thor.
Yeah, Frog Thor. Yes. So yeah, we saw Thanos helicopter. I mean, this is going to jumping off because there's a lot of scenes there. So when we do see the tribunal head of the tribunal, the living tribunal. We see the guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp, his mask, giant mask and stuff, and we do know that at the end of Ant-Man, he gets sucked into like he goes like subatomic, and we don't know what happened to him. So it looks like he ended up in the void somehow or something. There's so much, and we'll get so anyway. It fast forwards. You see, Eliath in the background and stuff. Brewing up chaos and stuff, consuming stuff, and then it zooms in on the Lokis. And this is where it's like, yeah, hey, you want to live? Come with us and stuff. And he's confused, like, hey, what the hell's going on? There's an alligator.
Why are we listening to this kid?
Yeah,
right.
There's an alligator, but I'm not even shocked about that. Which is such a Loki thing to say. But
that's where I got completely confused. That's why I'm like, what the hell's happening here? And then when he becomes the President Loki and the damn alligator bites his hand off, I thought that's the funny. His scream is the most hilarious thing in this whole. The way he screams, yeah.
President Loki is my least favorite Loki.
Oh, that's who's that?
I can't with politicians.
That's who I saw at Avengers Campus yesterday. Was
President Loki?
President Loki was there yesterday.
Did you bite his hand?
No, but
did he have two hands when he was there?
He did. That was the thing everyone said on Thursday because they put President Loki out so quick at Avengers. I think me and Breanna were talking about this. We did an extra magic hour that they had President Loki out like in the morning of Wednesday morning. So you already knew he was coming because you obviously you'd seen the previews. But I think he had two hands. But
well, they should have just put a Gator Loki hanging from.
I think that would have been great. That would have been so great.
I think Gator Loki's their next Grogu.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yes.
I would get
have
one.
You seen the Funko Pop? He's so cute.
I would get one.
So
absolutely.
I want a plush Gator Loki.
Yes.
He's the only Loki with balls. He doesn't care. He's all about the violence. He chooses violence all the time. So yeah.
I thought it was hysterical when they were talking about his Nexus event. He ate the wrong neighbor's cat.
Which I'm thinking he may have eaten a flirkin. So I'm thinking that's what happened. They're like, no, you can't do that. So yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and bring you over here. So, but yeah, so they bring him to
save him if he ate a flirkin. I feel like he would die.
yeah, I think it would. I don't think you could absolutely eat a flirkin. That's not how that works. Right. But before we get to introduce to President,
sorry, I got off on a tangent.
Oh no worries, because we're right there. They're running to escape and stuff. The Eliath, and they go into this like bomb shelter looking thing, and then as they pan down, this is where we get some really cool Easter eggs. So we see, first of all, there's a lot of school trays that are all over the place. If you with 90s juice boxes and stuff like that. I'm not sure what the reference is. If it could be the high school that was on that pen that Mobius was writing with and stuff. But a lot of high school lunch trays and stuff, which was buried. And then we come across Thor's hammer. We see Mjolnir, and then we see this little frog, Thor-looking creature, which is Thor frog. And so I have to clarify for people because I've actually read both iterations of the comics. There's the Legends of it's kind of the it's not the Pet Avengers, but they're led by the Bulldog and stuff. And there's a Throg, which is Sam Wilkerson, who is converted, into a frog that was given Thor's powers and stuff, and that's Throg. And then there's Thor Frog, which in episode 365, which it says on the label T365, which is Thor 365, this is where Loki transforms his brother into a frog. So there is two frogs weirdly in this universe and stuff, and one is Throg and the other is called it's either Frog Loki or Loki Frog, or not Loki Frog, sorry, Thor frog or frog thrower. So whatever you want to choose to say it. But I've gone to so many debates with people. I'm like, the source material is there. You can read the comic books. You can look it up. It's it's on the Marvel thing. You can, there's a difference, between the two. But it's cool to see either way. He's trapped inside of the jar trying to get Mjolnir. That's what it looks like and stuff, and you can't. And they took the soundtrack from when Thor was encased in that glass, and I believe it was Dark World, and he couldn't get out. So they took the exact same soundbite and put that in there as him trying to escape from the jar. So. And apparently, side note, there was more that was supposed to be added to the frog, and Thor. They actually brought Chris Hemsworth in to do some voiceover work, and we didn't see that. So that's kind of, I'm not sure if we're going to see that in the next episode or what, but he was brought in to do some voiceover work. And
they probably paid a lot of money for that, so they should probably use that.
They should use that, Well, they did the same thing with Doctor Strange. They paid a lot of money for Benedict to shoot some of the scenes and stuff for WandaVision, but they took it out. So we'll see what comes of that and stuff. But yeah, they're now in their secret Loki lair, and it's obvious that Kid Loki is the leader.
He's
of
the
this
king
bunch.
of the void.
The king, yes, he is the king. This is his land. And he earned it rightfully so, because he straight tells you his Nexus event was that he killed Thor. So, which is huge. Thor is not an easy being to kill.
And he's a child.
And he's a kid. Yes, he is a child. So right there, it makes him already more better, powerful, or devious than all the other Lokis and stuff combined and stuff, because he did something as a child that they couldn't even do in adulthood and stuff.
Depending on who you ask, though.
Yeah.
Because classic Loki and Gator Loki, they're going along with Kid Loki, but we later find out that boastful Loki and the rest of the Lokis don't care that he killed Thor.
No, the betrayers, yes. So boastful Loki, he gets boastful Loki, for those who don't know, these might as well be called I'm a liar Loki, because he likes to weave some tall tales and stuff about his adventures.
He is
his Nexus event, House of the Avengers, and
he's a dramatic bragger.
Which fits his title.
Bragging Loki, yes.
I want to go back 1 second to Chris Hemsworth being his voice. Dempsey, Sam's favorite writer for the DisInsider, put an article out about 4 hours ago. And I guess during that scene, the frog is trying to break out of and I guess he yells, that's actually Chris Hemsworth's voice.
Correct. But yes, that is took from another one of Thor's movies. That's from Thor Dark World.
Okay.
So.
They said they recorded him just doing that. It was his voice going. It's a whole new recording, not recycled. He recorded that. That's what.
Really?
Yep,
okay.
That's
if Dempsey said it.
If Dempsey said it, it's true. Dempsey's calling Namor, and Kate Herron. That's who the producer or the director said that it was. He actually re-recorded it for them.
I won't challenge it.
All right. Okay, Dempsey. Thank you.
Thanks, Dempsey.
All right, back to boastful Thor. Sorry.
So I was going to say I'll just put a video out, but I won't challenge it. But okay. So so boastful Loki, he's talking about his tales, and then classic Loki and alligator Loki kind of just laughs at him, and that's where the comment about the gate, you're like, oh, your Nexus event, you ate the wrong neighbor's cat and stuff, and then Mr. I choose violence on a daily basis, alligator Loki came and tried to rip his arm off and stuff, and that's when the fight broke out. They kind of broke it up and stuff. And I'm trying to remember, this is where Loki kind of intercedes our Loki and tries to come up with a plan to get back to the TVA and destroy Elias. You said he's kind of a shark in a shark tank, and and just like within the animal, he can be killed, and he does his great glorious speech and stuff, tries to get everyone up in the tizzy, and nobody's falling for Loki shit.
They are laughing at him.
Yeah. It's like, okay,
well, you're gonna kill Goliath? Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds great. Have fun with that, man.
Yeah, and get back to the female Loki who's like, like us. Okay, yeah, sure. That's.
But you know what I loved? I love that he said she's different than us. She doesn't want to take down, or she doesn't want to take over the TVA. She wants to take it down.
Tear it down. Yes,
it's like Mobius.
But I like that he recognizes that.
Because he loves her.
She's different.
No, he doesn't. I'm sorry, you guys. I'll be the lone dissenter here. You three can think there's some love going on.
He shared his blanket.
I know.
He loves her. He loves her / himself.
All right, you know what? Let's jump to that. Let's talk about that scene specifically, because this is where I'm going to shatter. No, I'm sorry. Let's do this. I'm going to shatter some of you guys. So first of all, we all know Loki is a narcissist. He's obsessed with himself. When he manifested the blanket, did he wrap her around the blanket, or he just manifested for himself at first?
He made one and then instantly asked her if she wanted one.
He made it for himself and stuff. And then the second piece of that is they're frost giants. Do you really think cold affects them at all in the slightest? This was just a ploy for Loki's narcissism and everything else. He's trying to cozy up to Sylvie.
He loves her.
Nope, that has nothing to do with love at all. And he was his first thing wasn't to conjure a blanket around her. She was sitting right next to him. Any decent, you and I, or anyone else who believes in chivalry, we would, like his code, we'll take our jacket off and put it around without even that. Loki wraps himself in the blanket.
He wants to know if she likes him too. So he's got to see. He's testing to see if she asks.
Okay.
He wants to know.
All right, okay.
Sitting in a tree.
I'm just saying that whole scene was very telling. Mr. Narcissist takes care of himself first, and then when he's trying to get something out from his other counterpart, he's like, "Oh, I'll manifest you a part of my blanket too and stuff to show how awesome I am and everything." No, there's no love there. That dude loves himself. I mean,
well, that's her. She's part of him, right? So they're the same person.
Correct.
He loves himself. There you go.
But he doesn't love her as another human being, as another being. He loves him. It's like I hate saying this in a very adultish way, but it's like, guys, there's certain appendage that you also love of yourself and stuff, and that you would take, and that's how that is. He's into self-love. He discovered self-love. He's a 13-year-old boy who discovered something that he likes. That's about himself. All right. That's all I'll say.
So basically, he was.
Yep.
Get you some. Get you some.
Get some of that.
David's famous line. Get you some of that.
There's no love story here, guys. That's all I'm saying. There's not a love story here.
There's self-love.
Yes,
there's a lot of self-love. Absolutely.
Healthy. Self-love is healthy. Yes, there is a lot of self-love here.
So we back up now to, is it now when Sylvie finds Mobius?
Loki tries to leave. He leaves, because he's not getting help with the other Loki. So he's leaving the bomb shelter. And then that's where he runs into President Loki and all the other Loki,
the Loki army,
the Loki army and stuff.
Hell.
So yeah, that's the funny part is seeing those, and we actually saw a couple of those that came up on the hologram in episode 2 when they're showing all the variant Lokis and stuff. There's a couple of them that were in that group already and stuff, so that was kind of cool to see. And then he's and then that's where boastful Loki kind of comes in and like reveals the plan that he was the betrayer, like, hey, now I get to rule this realm and everything else. And then President Loki's like, yeah, okay. Nope, that's not how that works. It's my army, so therefore I am the king. And then the other Lokis basically betrayed him. I mean, it was just a bunch of betrayals. It was betrayal after betrayal. And then
what else do you expect from a bunch of Lokis?
Yeah, exactly. So, but the classic Loki did the most coolest thing ever, and it was really quick in that fight scene where he created the mirage images of them as they're fighting. Even one of the mirage image of the alligator and got thrown at the other Loki, to
which was was great because when he was telling his story about how he ended up in the void, he said that, you know, he basically created a projection of himself for Thanos to snap, and then he hid and hid in, you know, other worlds until he missed his family and wanted to go home. And then as soon as he stepped home, the TVA found him. They made a great point to say whenever Kid Loki says it, whenever a Loki is trying to do better, that's when they get eliminated.
Yep. So I love that story. I can't believe I missed that, but yeah, I love that story, Sam. That because it almost was speaking to what happened to our Loki that hasn't happened to him yet. Because obviously, you know, this is, you know, the Loki from the New York invasion. He hasn't gone to Infinity Wars yet, where you know, the ship where the Asgardians are all in the ship and stuff. But the classic Loki has. And he's like, when Thanos came to that ship and was, you know, choking the life out of me, I conjured up, you know, a mirage so believable, like Sam said, that it even tricked the Titan, you know, the Mad Titan, and he turned himself into an inanimate dust that he just floated along space. Now, there's people who are tying that storytelling in the sequence of what happened with Loki on that ship when Thanos snaps his neck. You can actually see some inanimate objects floating away from Loki's body and stuff. So it was kind of cool. I was like, oh, are you telling our story? Are you telling your, like, he's telling his story, but I was like, it actually made me say about the Loki in our current universe, not this one, because this is a variant, may still be alive. Loki's it really gives credence to Loki's don't die and stuff. And so it was a really interesting story. I think there's a lot more to that will get revealed in the next phases here. I
agree. I thought that too.
Yeah. It was kind of cool. I was like, oh man, that's how you would do it. That's how you would make a Loki survive. So
so before we move on, I have a quick question for you guys. Do any of you buy into the theory that this show is based on the Infinity Stones?
I love the way they break down that theory, but off of this episode, I do not.
Okay. Sam, Breanna?
No, it's
okay.
It doesn't really add to the story to me. For me, like, it's just if they did plan it that way, that's awesome, but it doesn't really add anything extra. So I'm not wasting too much energy on it.
Yep. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Go on. Sorry about that. I just think you talked about Thanos, so I want to ask.
Don't quit apologizing. Ask the question.
Right.
You're asking the questions that the audience are going to want to know anyway. They have the same questions because it was a very well thought out scenario that the person theory that they put forth and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just that this.
She did a great job. I was like, damn, because you gave it to us. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But why would they revisit the Infinity Stone thing again? Because it kind of seems like it ended with the Iron Man snap. You really can't go past that. What are you going to bring it back up again? I don't see why you would do that. So,
and think honest, it's fun to theorize things and stuff.
Yeah.
And see if they unravel or see if it sticks. And unfortunately, it unravels. It doesn't have anything to do with the Infinity Stone. So
okay. So after that part, he loses his hand, right? Now the president loses.
Yeah,
his hand.
he did lose it. Yeah,
he did lose his hand already.
He did lose his hand. And then we have Sylvie uses the. She used the pruning stick, and she ended up in the void. She
with
basically
Mobius.
With Mobius, yes. So she is running from Goliath, and she realizes that she can sort of possibly enchant Goliath. Like she gets a little bit of a touch of Goliath's memory, which is weird because Goliath is like a temporal dust being. Like,
did anyone else think it would feel like it was Aladdin watching that part? Because that's what popped in my head when I first saw Goliath is the cloud thing, right?
Yes. So
I totally thought Cave of Wonders when I saw it. I'm like, oh my god, this is just like
actually
Goliath is first. Goliath came out first.
Okay.
So she got a touch of Goliath, and like Sam said, got a memory, and like, so the idea popped in her head, like think I can enchant him. And as she's running from him, she sees a car coming towards her, and it's our buddy Oh man, I wish there was water, because it
rolls up on a jet ski.
Rolls up on the jet ski. He's like, hop on. Like, wow. Man. But no, he comes in the pizza truck.
Would have been perfect.
Yeah, I was like, instead it's a pizza delivery car, which is just as fun.
Absolutely. And so
I was getting Pizza Planet. I was like, this is total Toy Story vibes right now.
I got the same thing. I was like, wait. In fact, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh man, if that says Pizza Planet on it,
God, that would be great.
We're going meta. This is full of Disney immersion and stuff here. But it didn't say Pizza Planet on the thing and stuff. So she hops in, and they're taking off, and they're having their conversations about what why are you here? Like, and she, that's where she's formulating a plan. Like, I think I'm going to enchant, Eliath and make, and I get to the bottom of this and stuff. I can't remember most of the conversation. If you guys remember, they were having in the car and stuff. I should have wrote better notes in regards to that.
Basically, they were talking about how how there's time for him to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was also a point where she goes, I was hoping to find Loki because she loves him.
Yes. No.
It's all love.
They're using each other. This is not, there's no love.
Since we're talking about Eliath, can I add a little bit of the background story of Eliath and Kang?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, Kang the Conqueror. So Eliath's domain is like 2 to 3 times larger than what Kang the Conqueror's is. And Kang the Conqueror basically had to stop Eliath from being able to spread into his domain. So that's how he kind of got like stuck in the void. And Kang the Conqueror is not able to spread his domain across the timeline any further. And that is when he gets he falls sick. And that is when Ravonna takes over. So for the fact that we see Eliath is in the void, and that there's already this separate timeline that Kang may have been in charge of at some point, that for me is another sign that Ravonna is playing a much bigger role than she's leading on.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I know, I agree with that. 100%. I just don't know. I think we're being hoodwinked. I think we're being Mephistos here. I mean, my trust issues with Marvel on these Disney series is way down and stuff. I'm not going to believe what you're showing me anymore and stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. I bet my other son Brady $20 that Kang the Conqueror. Yeah, that Kang the Conqueror wouldn't be part of this. So
he wouldn't.
I support. I'll pay half of that bet and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
I really don't think, and we talked about this. I said it earlier in the previous shows that I don't think we're gonna see Kang the Conqueror. We may get we're already getting references, and if we do see him, it would be an end credit scene. So next we got one more episode. And
that can't happen, or I lose $20. Now $90 in the whole.
You're already getting it. You're already getting it because Ravonna is 110% connected to Kang.
But I haven't said it.
It's just that's what it is. He conquered her kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only reason he didn't kill her dad, basically, was because he was in love with Ravonna.
Okay.
And we don't know what stage of are we in the beginning stages of this relationship? Are we're in the middle of it and they already have an established relationship? We don't know. So that's the cool thing about Marvel and how they're going to set this up. We just know there's a tie, there is a connection, and they made it very obvious that there's a connection to Kang the Conqueror and Ravonna. So we'll see what that what Renslayer's role is in this and stuff, and Kang's, if they're going to just meet. And I can see that happening. I can see an end credit scene because I'm gonna give a prediction before we get to that part. I think Ravonna's going to survive, and I think we're going to see an end credit scene where she meets Kang, and they're going to start a relationship and a power thing and stuff. So that's just I'm just putting that
honestly, that's mine too. Especially, we haven't got to it yet, but like after she speaks to B-15, that's was kind of what I was getting. She's going there. She's going to where she thinks the timekeepers are, and yeah.
So next scene is after the fight in the vault, and then this is where the two scenes merges. So we see Mobius and Sylvie's pulling up in the car, and then there's the Lokis that escaped the fight, and then they meet and they all converge in one. And Loki, he does this weird puppy dog, like, oh my god, it's Sylvie.
He loves her.
Because he loves her, David.
Because he loves her.
It's okay. I have no comment for that. The that scene was set up like it was like from Hope Float or something. I don't know, but he was super excited for some reason to see Sylvie.
Love.
No, I'm not saying love. And so he runs.
Self-love.
He runs to her. This whole scene was written like it was a romance song. He runs to her as she emerges from the car, and he's so gleeful, a grin on his face. And then they stopped, feet from each other, and then they embrace. And I mean,
let's be honest. He's probably going to stick a dagger into the next episode to get her off. I mean, just because. Right now, it's cool though.
So then we get to the scene where, like we were talking about earlier with the blanket. And I love the way they were talking about the Nexus event. They were like, so like, can we do it again? Like, do you think if we did it again that something bad would happen? Or like, can we do it again?
Yeah.
No, we can't cause a Nexus event. Can we?
You heard the rumors that it was because you and I,
you and I have that connection.
And then
and I got us some.
Yeah.
Get you some.
And this whole trusting, like I don't trust anybody. Like you can trust me, and like, can I? It's like, no, you can't trust Loki. No, God, you guys are all falling for it. You guys are.
That's right. If I'm falling for it, I'll enjoy this ride of thinking that Sylvie and Loki are in love.
Yeah, 4 more days to enjoy it
before they rip the rug on her.
Right.
And Loki pops up from a snake and stabs Sylvie, like, haha, I got you.
Because love is a dagger, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So she has her love is an invisible dagger. So she has her plan where she's going to enchant Eliath, and everybody's like, you're crazy, that's not going to work. But she's convinced, and Mobius is convinced that she can do it. He believes in her. So all of the Lokis are trying to like get her through this plan. She sees that sees Eliath is coming and hands the temp pad to our Loki.
Yep.
Our Loki says, I'm staying here with you, and hands the temp pad to Mobius. Mobius is going to say goodbye to our Loki, and our Loki, instead of shaking his hand, as David said earlier, handshakes don't mean anything to Loki. He pulls him in for a hug. And that for me, like, tugged on my heartstrings. And then he whispers over his shoulder, you're still my favorite. I like you most, to Sylvie.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. That's so okay. That friendship, that relationship between Loki and Mobius is more real than the one between him and Sylvie. It is. That's a genuine relationship there.
But it's not causing a Nexus event.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But I'm just saying, if that's a real genuine relation, that's a bromance. There's no romance. There's a bromance here, and it's Mobius and Loki. So
nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. And then Mobius pulls the whole like, I like you best. Talking to the Loki.
To Sylvie.
Yeah. So he takes off, and and the famous, the words that Loki did is, I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. He's like, well, thanks for being the spark, and I'm gonna do the exact same. I'm gonna burn the TVA down. So there, it's full circle and stuff. And
that makes Sylvie smile, because that's what she wants to hear.
Yep.
Then we get to see the trying to enchant, trying to get the branch of Eliath. Loki, Kid Loki gave his glowing dagger, which it actually is pretty big in the comics. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
I can't remember the name of the sword, but it is the famous enchanted sword that is. It's in the folklore of Loki. It's also in the comics and stuff.
Yep.
And I can't. Yeah, I don't remember. And I think Chris actually wrote in the
Leviathan.
I believe you might be correct.
Leviathan. So yeah, Leviathan is the flaming sword that Kid Loki's like, here, you might need this in your battle. So I thought that was pretty cool. A cool nod to the comics and to the folklore. So he uses Leviathan to try and
get his attention,
get a distraction of Goliath so that Sylvie can enchant a branch. She's struggling. It's not working. And we get to see classic Loki come out. David, do you want to take it from there? What does he do?
So classic Loki, who is, I mean, God, not only from the story that he told, but just from the power base that he has shows the full potential of Loki. And he conjures up a believable Asgard that I emphasize ass for some reason, but Asgard and he got Goliath to bite. Like, it was full on, and the details to this conjuring was stellar. I mean, it was on point, and he was rocking it. He was like building up the buildings, the village, the world and stuff. And Goliath is like, well, there it is. There's my next meal right there. And he bit and he went after it and stuff. And, you know, Loki is like, this is my glorious. This is my glorious
purpose
right here. Yeah. And, you know, we see again, that Goliath may have eaten Loki, classic Loki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think.
I don't know.
Again, Lokis are Lokis, you know.
He could have been projecting again.
Yeah.
But I loved that scene because that's when Loki and Sylvie were kind of like, oh, maybe we do have more power than we realize it.
Yep.
And that is when Sylvie tells Loki she needs his help, our Loki, that she needs his help enchanting Goliath. And he's like, I can't do that. And she's like, yeah, you can. And they do.
He's lying to her.
You know, he knew he could because he enchanted her earlier.
Yep. So they, you know, she grabs his arms. I mean, his hand, the interlocked hand.
What are you doing?
Oh God! And they, you know, and they're both trying to enchant, a branch of Goliath, and they manage to do so right as he's as he's devouring, Asgard and classic
coming
Loki.
Towards them, yeah.
Yep, and they manage to do it, and as soon as they do, he kind of unlocks himself, and you see him turn, from his smoke color to this green mist, and you see what's inside that he was protecting, and it looks like this big giant house castle-ish looking thing that is familiar to me. I've seen something that looks similar. I don't know if this is it. So there is a place that is in a void of space called the House of Ideas, and it looks similar to the House of Ideas.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I can't tell you if I. So for those who don't know, the House of Ideas is a place where there's these two beings that live. They're the story keepers. They're the storyline keepers, and everyone's stories in all of the multiverses throughout all the timelines and stuff exist there. And you see the library. We even see in one of the segments that there's a library that Sylvie's fighting in, and in the comic book section, Loki ends up going there and looking over other people's storylines, and he opted to write his own storyline to change things, and because you can do that in the House of Ideas. Now, the other cool thing about the House of Ideas is that it used to be the dwelling of the one above all. For those of you who don't know who the character, the one above all, he's a very short character. He's only made like maybe a couple of appearances throughout the entire Marvel run, but he's also the most powerfulest being that ever existed. In fact, it's so powerful. They can write him to be a part of any story. In fact, he is technically the god. He is technically God. He is. He actually managed to have a comic book artist inside of a comic. Like he broke the fourth wall, fifth wall, whatever. Had a comic book artist rewrite a story to bring back another character back to life and stuff. That the one above all is what I was hoping that Stan Lee character was when he did all the cameos. Like he was just kind of watching things, and it would have been so cool if they ended it with him being the one above all. But that who also dwelled at the house of the house of ideas and stuff. Not sure if that is, because also it could be Kang the Conqueror's his domain, and so there is that possibility and stuff too. But I'm really going with the house of ideas because it really looks eerily like if you look it up.
Okay. I agree with that, David. And then the two beings that live there are now and then.
Yes.
So they're the ones who do the rewriting. And Thor, Spider-Man, Wolverine, yeah, Logan have worked with Now and Then to kind of like rewrite their stories. But they're kind of tricksters too. They're kind of tricksters too. And Thor did take Loki to the house when he became king of Jotunheim, was it?
Jotunheim.
So we know that Loki's end goal is to be king of a realm.
Yep.
Could we be looking at a Jotunheim type situation?
If this is definitely confirmed as the House of Ideas, yes, I'm gonna say 100% because that's the best place to go to get exactly what you want. You can rewrite your story and stuff with the two beings and stuff there.
Now and Then, yeah.
So, and it's interesting about why they would be there and why I'm curious about this mystery even more now about the timekeepers and that house and everything else, because now I'm like, I don't know where they're going to go with this and stuff. Right. So yeah, that's my little short theory. We saw the house. I'm only putting the House of Ideas because of the book libraries that we see that Sylvie and them are fighting inside of that castle looking building and stuff. And so, but it could be Kang the Conqueror's domain as well too. So we'll have to wait until the final episode to see. Right. So
a few more days. So is that everything? That's everything that happened in the episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I have questions for next week.
All right.
Okay. David, are we going to see Mobius get to ride a jet ski?
Yes, we better.
We better.
That's the only thing I want. I literally don't care about anything else. I want to see Mobius get a jet ski.
Brianna. Oh, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying it'd be a disservice to the fans if you don't put them on a jet ski. So
with Mephisto.
I don't care who.
I don't care about Mephisto.
It could be the Scarlet Witch on there. Yeah.
Brianna.
Yes.
Is Loki doing all of this? Is he the big bad in all of this at the end of this when it ends?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't feel right to me, but I'm open to anything at this moment, but it's not my top theory.
Okay. You don't think he's playing everyone from the beginning to the end?
No.
Anyone else? Sam?
I do.
You do?
You think? Okay. What do you think, David?
You think this is all Loki at the end?
Yes, but I don't know how it fits in with what we just saw. So
right. No, that's why I was wondering with you saying that, with what you just were saying, you think it might be.
He's trying to tell us that Ravana is actually a Loki variant. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, geez.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'll drop a clue bomb for you guys. I think there's a Loki variant that has not been that's been revealed that has not been revealed. So there's a character in here that I think is the Loki variant.
Are we talking about the Twitter tweet?
No,
that happened? Okay.
No.
Do you think that Miss Minutes is a Loki variant?
I hope so.
So they promoted her quite a bit. This is Marvel doing this, promoting, giving her own Twitter.
Oh, Miss Minutes is at Disneyland. You can actually stand and take a picture.
Miss Minutes is an actual character at Disneyland too, and so She may be a Loki variant.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey,
all right.
If we got Porker Parker, pig cartoon, Spider-Man, then
we got Gator Loki.
She can be a Loki variant. So,
Sam, do we see? No, I'm going to ask because I ask about everything. Are we going to see Wanda or Doctor Strange in this possibly? Because that has to do with time as well. Has to do with time. I'm just saying.
I'm saying no.
Okay. And that classic Loki was doing his big chaos kind of magic like Wanda, right?
Well, he was making a projection.
Wanda is Miss Minutes. Book it now.
Wanda just got a Southern accent.
There you go.
Wanda might possibly be a Loki variant at this point.
That's true. I mean, we all could be at this point.
Honestly, that's
quit outing us like that.
Sounds like everyone is.
Whoever is in this mystery house to have that Southern accent, and then she's just projecting herself to be Miss Minutes to look over all of her subjects.
Yep.
I picture the woman from Holes.
Sigourney Weaver?
Sigourney Weaver?
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Wow, that would be awesome.
But like with the accent and how she's just kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
With her lipstick tube.
Still reminds me of Jurassic Park though, when from
the writer. I would absolutely love seeing Sigourney Weaver being the ultimate Loki with the southern accent. Oh my god, that would be cool.
That would be badass. Sam, what do you want out of the last episode?
Besides Mobius getting a jet ski,
right?
I want to know if our Loki has any goodness in him, if he's good or if he is not good.
That's fair.
I want to know if he's going to stab anybody in the back. Our Loki.
That's code for I want to make sure he's in love with Sylvie.
He's in love with Sylvie. Yep. Breanna, how about you? What do you want to see?
Then I'll blatantly say it. I want to know if he's in love with Sylvie. And overall, I want Sylvie to live because she is now one of my new absolute favorite characters.
Yes.
Agree.
Love her, and if they, no, she needs more. So I want her to live, survive this. That's it.
David, how about you, buddy?
So I would like to be proven right on that this is the House of Ideas, because I really would like to see where that twist goes. I want to also be proven right that Loki is about Loki. He ain't in love with anyone but himself, and that's including the variant version of him. And to prove it, for me, proving it would be him stabbing her to death. He kills her. So that would make me satisfied. So.
Wow.
I hate saying
wow.
it. I'm gonna get some hate.
Damn.
Because that's in keeping with Loki.
It's actually it's keeping with this character. I absolutely agree with you.
And then we get a end credit. This is the other thing, the end credit scene. I really think it's gonna be Kang. We're gonna get maybe a meeting. I really like the idea of Ravonna and Kang. This is the beginning of their relationship, and so they meet somehow, revealing something. But it's not. We may not even see Kang. Kind of like how Thanos was introduced, like in secret and a little bit at a time.
What I want is to understand this all at the end, and you guys have helped. You guys have actually, honestly. Listen, you guys talk about it for the last hour, helped me understand it a lot more, and I understand a lot more. So I appreciate you guys for doing that. So that's what this show's about, is helping us little weak-minded people that don't understand it as much. But I appreciate it.
Stop insulting our fandom. There's no weak-minded people in the tribe.
No, I said me. I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anyone.
Don't talk about you either. Don't talk about you either. Hype yourself up. You want to talk about how tall how big the 42-degree drop is at Splash Mountain, or how tall Matterhorn is? I'll talk about you guys that all day long. I'm just coming along for the ride and learning. And
do you think Sam Jackson talks bad about himself, Nick Fury? No. So there. Right. Play your role. Play your role, Nick.
You need to be more like Loki and love yourself.
I do love myself.
Self-love.
Self-love. No. David.
Oh my God.
Just don't stab yourself in the back.
I kind of want that to happen now, David.
No.
I kind of want that to happen. I'm going to watch this and say, David.
We need to make this a poll, Brianna.
Yeah,
we need to make this a poll. Is Loki gonna betray Sylvie?
Yes. Oh yes, please. Yeah, we'll put it on everything.
Yeah, make it a poll.
With that being said, I think we're good for Marvel Tribe this week.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Three more days to the finale.
Oh yeah.
And are we all going to be able to be here next? I don't know when anyone's schedule is. What's next Sunday look like for everyone?
I'm
should be
next
here.
Sunday. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
I should be here.
Okay. Well, Chris will probably still be at
collect my
Disney.
flower. I'm going to collect my flowers from all you guys. So
Yes.
I will be here.
Yes. We'll all say you were right. Chris will still be at Disney World with. I think he'll be with Bill and Barry at that time, so that'll be fun. But yeah. All of us here at the Marvel Tribe, I want to thank you all for listening to us this week, and we'll see you next week for the finale episode of Loki. Have a great night, everyone.
Adios.
Bye.